Welcome to Press the Dice Gods. I'm Alan, and guess what? It's October, and you know what that means. We're going to do some orcs. In particular today, we're going to do a Deff Dread, and we're going to do him in contrast paint. Let's see how that goes. No, I've inherited this guy. I got him secondhand. He's already primed, he's assembled, so we're going to go straight in. Here we're going to use an airbrush, and we're going to paint him silver. Of course, you don't have to do it with an airbrush. You could just do it with a big fat brush like this. It really doesn't matter, because we're going to be going over all of that anyway. It is important to make that silver as smooth as you possibly can, which with a brush can always be a pain, but make sure that you thin that silver, because otherwise you're going to get brush strokes in it. And you don't want that, because the contrast paint love to go into little grooves like that. We're going to crack out the Basilicanum Grey. Oh, I love this paint. It's so cool. We do need to thin it, of course, because, as we were testing out on our other orc models in the past, it's a little bit too strong on its own to go straight over silver. So we're going to thin that down. I'm actually doing it with some airbrush thinner, but you can just do that with water or with contrast medium. Whichever you fancy most. We're going to get that over the model. We're going to make sure that we've not got too much pooling anywhere because we don't want massive dark patches. We want it to look nice and even-ish. I say even-ish because it is a contrast paint. It's never going to be perfect. We want to break up all of that silver because there is a lot of it, and if we left him like that, it'd be pretty dull. And contrast paints make things lovely and colourful. And what's one thing orcs like to do? They do, in actual fact, like to make things colourful because the different colours mean different things. So we're going to take out some of our yellow contrast paint. We're going to start sticking that over areas we think look like they'd actually be a different type of metal. One of the things I love about painting an orc in contrast paint is it makes everything look more orky. And by that I mean it's not going to make anything look smooth. It's not going to make it look like Space Marines have done it, or Tech Priests, or somebody else. These are orcs, they like to just slap it on, and that's it, job done. So, it's a great way to paint them. So we get the contrast paint, we're going to go for some red, we're going to start picking out some panels, it's like the teeth on the front there. We're going to go around and give him some colour. Because we want this guy to fit in with, I suppose it's the Goth army, with Ghazghkull Thraka, we're going to put some boring black panels in, just on his shoulders there, just so that he fits in and nobody can complain, because even a Goth is likely to have at least a bit of colour on him. And because I really like the white contrast paint, we're going to add some of that to it, just to add some extra level of details and colour. You'll see, it's on the skull bits and any bit that looked like they wanted it to be a bone, because you know, they're an orc. They like that sort of thing. So because I don't have any orange contrast paint, I don't know why, I keep meaning to get it and I keep forgetting. I had to make my own, so I had to mix some red and some yellow together until I got it to where I wanted it, just so I could paint that barrel on the back of this Deff Dread. It's a contrast paint. Even mixed together, they still look pretty cool. Next we're going to crack out our Grey Seer because I wanted what appeared to be metal horns on his head. I wanted them to look more like animal horns, as well as a couple of other bits that clearly look like they are animal parts. So we're going to put the Grey Seer over that, and then we're going to go over that with some Skeleton Horde, because Skeleton Horde makes everything look more bony. Is that the right word? Bony. Let's get around the model. We're going to go and find all of those little cables that are pretty much everywhere. We're going to give them some colour. I'm aiming at green and red, and that's pretty much it. It just adds a nice little bit of glint of colour inside that silver. Contrast paints are horrible on flat panels of any kind. Absolutely horrible, absolutely fantastic when you've got some sort of detailing there, because it just runs in and it looks beautiful. We're going to go full battle damage. Let's get rid of those blotchy patches all over our metal plates. We're going to take a bit of sponge, a pair of tweezers, dip it in a little bit of the silver we undercoated him with. We're then going to dab most of that off on a bit of cloth or a bit of tissue or whatever you want to use, and then we're going to go around the model over all of those paints where it's all blotchy and just give it a bit of a tap so that it looks like it's got battle damage, and there we have something that definitely looks orky. He's all finished. I love the way this guy looks. He's colourful enough to be orky. He's dark enough to be goth. Just wow. I'm really looking forward to sticking him on the table, especially once we get the rest of those orc boys done. This is going to be an absolutely fun month with lots of orcs. And if you'd like to join me in the Orc War for October, put a comment down below. I'd love to see what you've been doing with your orcs. If you like the video, do what our Space Marine's doing here and destroy that like button. And if you haven't already, make like an orc and smash the subscribe button.